A couple of new developments in the world of polygamy. Next on Polygamy, what love is this? Our first news item is about Winston Blackmore and James Oler of the FLDS Polygamy Group in Canada. They had been previously found guilty of breaking Canadian law, which forbids polygamy, and they were sentenced. Now, Canadian law, they try them in court and then they sentence them many weeks, sometimes months later, and in this case it's been months.
And they spend that time in jail, I guess?
No. Well, it depends on the case, I'm sure, but this time, not with this case. But they were sentenced in late June of 2018, and depending upon your viewpoint, the sentences were either a travesty of justice or stimulates additional boldness for other polygamists to just thumb their noses at the rule of law, just like they've been doing for the past 175 years. The court gave each of the polygamous men sentences of just a few months house arrest, meaning that they can come and go with very little restraint, and they each got a year's probation. We have a quote from a news article of the Vancouver Sun.
Yeah, it says it's a travesty. Two men who are both polygamous and child sex abusers won't spend a day in jail. In other words, his punishment is to carry on doing exactly what he's been doing for the last 30 years. After house arrest, the 61-year-old will be on probation for a year. Trial evidence showed that Blackmore married and impregnated 9 women who were under 18. 2 were only 15.
So what does that tell polygamists who do these things?
Slap on the wrist.
Slap on the wrist at best,
yeah.
Right. Another newspaper article said that far from having any deterrent effect, it will more likely embolden other polygamists. And of course, that's true. The Mormon polygamists are cheering their victory, concluding that they are being persecuted for their faith. They misuse the scripture where Jesus warned about persecutions. This is the scripture.
Matthew 5:11, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me."
Now, they use that scripture and apply it to themselves, being persecuted for polygamy, but notice in the verse that Jesus said that persecutions are because of him, not because of polygamy or because they're lawbreakers.
Wow.
Polygamists are not persecuted because of their testimony of Jesus. In fact, they are not being persecuted at all. They are being held accountable for breaking the laws of the land, even though their own articles of faith states that they will obey the laws of the land. Now, we have one more news article, and this is about the infamous Kingston Polygamy Group. We want to quote, to begin with, from a news article by KUTV News dated June 29th, 2018, about a fire in Box Elder County.
According to the Associated Press, NWR Limited Partnership is run by the well-known Kingston Polygamous Clan. They are being sued by 6 area ranchers after fire investigators confirmed the Broadmouth fire started on their land back in August of 2016. That lawsuit was filed in October of 2016. According to court documents, NWR admitted to starting the Broadmouth fire that scorched nearly 20,000 acres.
Wow. That's a big fire. Now, the first fire that they are responsible for starting was in August of 2016, and it happened again. And as of the date of the article, June 29th, 2018, it had burned more than 3,000 acres and was only 35% contained.
Wow.
So the Kingston-caused fires have hurt the ranchers in the surrounding areas. Of course, it would.
Sure.
The fires burned their grazing land and, of course, made it impossible for them to use the rest of their lands productively. But there's a twist to this story that may surprise many folks. There was a lawsuit that followed the first fire, we quote.
Yeah, so interesting. The lawsuit claims NWR or their employees started the fire while scraping noxious thistle with a backhoe. Box Elder County was under a red flag warning when the fire broke out on August 3rd, 2016. The ranchers allege the fire started because of negligence. NWR responded to the lawsuit by filing a third-party complaint against a group called Natural Choice. NWR claims it was leasing the land where the fire began to Natural Choice. In the court document, NWR alleges Natural Choice was operating the backhoe and no NWR personnel were in the area when the fire started. 2 News reached out to David Kingston, the attorney representing NWR Partnership, and Laura Fuller, who is representing Natural Choice. Kingston declined to comment. Fuller said as policy she could not comment on pending litigation.
Now, interesting article about the lawsuits. Now, the NWR company is owned by the Kingston Polygamists, and the Natural Choice company, whom NWR is suing, is also owned by the Kingston Polygamists.
That's crazy.
David Kingston, the attorney representing NWR, is a member of the Kingston Group, and Laura Fuller, who is representing Natural Choice, whom NWR is suing, is a plural wife of Daniel Kingston. But what the heck, you know, it's all in the family anyway. And the Kingstons continue to make a mockery of our laws, claiming they are under God's higher laws. A former member of the Kingston Polygamy Group, who is well aware of their tactics, said this about the whole mess.
This is a great example of how they structure their businesses to cut off liability and not take responsibility for their actions. If only the tenant is liable for the fire, then they can let that company die, start a new one, and continue on business as usual. The land will be safe and sound in the Kingstons' hands. It just belongs to a different company.
And that's what they do.
And that's what they
That's
did.
what they do. The Bible tells us that in the days to come, there will be lawlessness. And the polygamy groups seem to be helping fulfill that prophetic word. And that's the way it is. And it's never a dull moment in the world of polygamy.